Happy October to all of you. Please know how elated I am at your recently submitted work, which includes your choices of primary documents from our Freedom on My Mind textbook. As I stated in the feed that I finished reading, commenting on, and grading them. I'm very glad that I attended the Goodman South Grand Opening last Saturday. However, it did affect my commenting and grading routine. If you are continuing to have problems with Aula, please contact the Aula representatives via the purple question mark, Ilana and or me. We really want you to feel comfortable with Aula by this juncture. If this is not the case, please know that I would be happy to speak or meet with you. Thanks to those who have contacted me should they run across problems. By alerting me to such issues, you make the course pilot flow better. I participated in an Aula meeting last Friday with others who are piloting Aula. We will be continuing to do so on a monthly basis, so if you have any feedback, positive and or negative, please let me know so I can bring it to the table. After we finish the upcoming midterm, you will have to decide whether you will be reading a Kendi work and writing a critical book review rather than taking our final. Please start investigating which avenue you would like to take. I will ask you to commit when you turn in your midterm. Please see our syllabus for the Kendi book choices. Please check out the plethora of posts in the Things to Explore. Always know that you can post anything you think is relevant to our studies this semester in our feed. Please do not feel that you have to attend, read, and or participate in everything that I post. Rather, I just want to make you aware of what is going on around us relative to African and African American studies. Also, make sure to check your Grade Center weekly, at least, as I try to keep things updated and fair. With regard to the Grade Center, I'm feverishly working on getting it up to date. There have been glitches between my old Blackboard course and the merger with Aula, as I'm sure you're firmly aware of. This was definitely a topic of discussion in our Aula meeting this past Friday. Now, for congratulations, as you've made it through our first module, Mama Africa, and we are just starting our second module, American Revolution. The midterm will follow after we finish with the American Revolution. So we're looking at October 16th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. for the midterm to be released, examination to be released in Blackboard. I am firmly aware that our foundational material can be very heady and emotionally charged. And we are not in the same room with each other to discuss these things. This is definitely one of the drawbacks of online instruction, at least in my estimation. I'm trying to be optimistic that you are working all the coursework through and you are absorbing it well on your own. In a face-to-face environment, we can usually see each other's faces, body language, hear each other's voices and tones, and more, which can help in facilitating better discussions. However, in this online environment, we have to develop ways to still have a great discussion about such topics or themes without the advantage of physically being with each other. If there's anything that you would like to question, discuss further, and or contest, please do so. We can do this either in the feed or in any of the module-related activities. I pride myself on ensuring my students that they can totally disagree with my assertions as long as they can historically support their assertions and still get an A in the course. In truth, I was really intrigued with your foundational and pre-midterm coursework. Hopefully, you've all read your classmates' entries so that you can get a fuller picture as well. This is why it's crucial that you at least peruse your classmates' posts. Relative to the questions I posed and the answers I read, I would like to draw your attention to the things to explore, regarding Bishop Bartolome de las Casas. The bishop basically argued against the enslavement of the indigenous, also known as Indians, and suggested that Africans be selected as the optimal slave for the Transatlantic slave system. While he regretted the suggestion and recanted it on his deathbed, the damage had been done. This is a primary document that historians can refer to. Many of the reasons that you put forth were valid as well. I was very pleased to see them posted. As far as the Irish scenario, I wanted to make sure that you are aware that Irish slavery or indentured servitude was attempted, however, it did not work out. I also want to make you aware that the white supremacy groups have used this in an ahistorical fashion. I have had even pro-Irish memes put on my Facebook wall by Irish relatives. Then I have to address such ahistorical assertions that lend themselves to white supremacy. It is important to be aware of these historical nuances and or controversies. Also relative to our coursework on skin color, it's also important to at least contemplate which came first, chattel slavery or racism, also known as ethnic chauvinism against Africans. I have my own opinions on this, as I'm sure you do. You can probably glean from the way that I presented the information which school of thought I fall into on that historical question. Just like I said with that regard to creationism versus evolution issue, you can believe that slavery already existed first and then came racism, or that they occurred simultaneously like other colleagues have. But you have to just make sure that you can historically back up your argument. My question to you would be, if skin color or ethnic chauvinism did not come first, then I wonder why we have white or European hegemonic legacies that continue to rage today. For example, Band-Aids, makeup, cosmetic and hair products, nude nylons, undergarments, skin color crayons, etc. This is a time where I would love to be in a room with all of you to discuss these points in person so that you can see people's faces, hear their voice tones, and read their body language. But alas, this is an online course, and we have to make the most of it. There are so many things that have been in the news that I'd like to post. However, I'd be up around the clock, reading and posting, as would you. If I feel that it's so crucial to cite, I will post it in the things to explore, and I would encourage you to use the feed in the same manner. That said, I'm not going to post something every time the media airs an unjust shooting, something that any of our political candidates, Kanye West says, or something about the Confederate flag, and now the impeachment happenings, etc. I think you get that, and you'll appreciate it in the long run. While I want you to make connections to the world around us with our coursework, I also want you to have a healthy balance. Please do not get me wrong. I lament every life that is taken, whether it be civilian and or police. I'm a political animal who tries to be very much aware of the current events. I just feel that I could overdo the posts, which greatly takes away from the history that we're studying. Again, there's a fine balance to self-care, historical study, and socio-political awareness. If you would like to post something to this end, please post your comment on relative material entry. If it's something related, again, you could always post it in the feed. I do have a feed column in our grade center where I will note your participation in the course. However, as I responded to Tori in our feed, I have no exact number for entries that will earn you an A. I understand this can be very hard to work with, as our educational system relies on many assessments and evaluations to prove that you learn something. With Aula, that is not the emphasis. In fact, it can be hard for me as a facilitator, since I've had to back off on my many assignments to check and see if you're learning the content. In essence, I have to trust you to own your own educational experience this semester. As for me, I'm very pleased with the work you've all done on the first foundational module. Please know that even if you do not get exhaustive feedback on all your work, I read through your work once, I reflect, and then I return to grade it. I hope you can sense that. As always, if there's anything you need or anything that I can do to make your learning experience better, do not hesitate to let me know. Have a great week as we delve into Module 2. P.S. I have noticed some practices that I think need improvement. Make sure that you keep up your typing, grammar etiquette, as many people are slipping into texting mode, which really takes away from your contribution. In addition to posting your contribution to our discussions, make sure that you add a follow-up question or commentary to your fellow classmates and or mine. This would be a lot easier if people would begin looking and posting their entries earlier than Wednesday evenings, which is right before our weekly course deadline. I know this as I can view when people last check into Blackboard or Aula and when they finally post their entry. I do not want to start mandating that people start commenting on the last person who posted, as I find that to be very demeaning and maternalistic. Therefore, if you believe any of these practices apply to you, please try changing your practice of checking into Aula and revising when you post your entries. Procrastination in this instance can definitely negatively affect your participation and even your grade. Online classes, for this reason, among others, can be more difficult, as you really have to manage your time to ensure your most beneficial learning experience. And as always, if there's any loose ends that I need to tie up or any improvements that I can make, please let me know.